She fell through Earth's upper atmosphere like a broken star, shattering 1,000 clouds in her wake. Radar operators across Europe and Asia called it a meteor. Amateur astronomers posted grainy footage to online forums. But in the forests of northern Pakistan, a single object, roughly humanoid, lay burning at the edge of a riverbed, its fall softened by impact foam and a shimmering cocoon of blue light. Her name was HFY, and she was not here by accident. She stumbled from the crater, her skin flickering through hues of copper and pearl, her eyes glowing dimly in the darkness of Earth's rotation. Her breathing was uneven, not due to Earth's oxygen, which her lungs could adapt to, but from fear, not of humans, but of what she might find, or what she wouldn't. Her people were missing, and Earth was their last known location. The first human she saw was not a soldier or a scientist, but an out-of-work mechanic named Rehan Malik, who lived in a converted shipping container on the edge of a dying village. He had been fixing a water pump when he saw the streak of blue fire across the sky. Rehan didn't believe in UFOs, but he did believe in things falling apart. Family, work, governments, health, hope. He took his motorbike, flashlight, and dog-eared copy of Basic Electrical Repair and rode into the forest to see what had fallen. What he found wasn't a crater. It was her. She was collapsed beside the river, breathing slow, blue blood seeping from a wound across her thigh. Her armor, part organic, part crystalline, had cracked. A small sphere hovered beside her, flickering in error code red. Rehan had 3 options. Run, call someone who'd shoot her, help. He chose the third, because his mother once told him, when God sends you something strange, it's either a test or a gift. Only fools walk away from both. He dragged her to his home, using old solar blankets as a sling. She was heavier than she looked, denser, like stone, but her skin was soft and warm. The orb tried to scan him, but failed and shut down. Rehan spent 2 hours patching the wound with surgical glue, bandages, and prayers. He almost electrocuted himself, trying to restart her bioarmor interface using a car battery. By sunrise, her eyes opened, pale, luminous, focused. She sat up fast. "You," she rasped, then clutched her head. "Easy," Rehan said, holding up both hands. "I'm the idiot who didn't shoot you. Remember that." She stared. "Where am I?" "Earth. Northern Hemisphere. Rural Pakistan. Technically still breathing space." Her voice had a harmonic quality, like wind echoing through a shell. "My name is HFY. I come seeking survivors of the Ellerin Recon Detachment. Do you know them?" Rehan blinked. "Lady, I don't even know who my mailman is anymore." She slumped, exhaustion catching up. "Then they're truly lost." Rehan handed her water. "Start from the beginning." And she did. Eola had been born in the star cluster orbit of the Sarnath Nebula. Her people, the Ellerin, were explorers, archivists, and peace-bearers. Fragile by design, strong in spirit. They did not conquer worlds, they witnessed them. Years ago, a detachment of Ellerin scientists had traveled to Earth under stealth protocols, drawn by bursts of cultural complexity. War and art, horror and hope, invention and extinction, all layered like sediment in time. They called Earth a chaotic cradle, brilliant, violent, and utterly unique. And then they vanished. No beacon, no distress, no trace. Only one signal burst made off-planet, coded fragments that said, "Memory broken. They changed us. Don't trust." The message was corrupted. Eola had volunteered for the recovery mission. The High Council refused. So she stole a scout ship and came anyway. Alone. Back on Earth, Rehan tried to process her story. It sounded like a fever dream made of poetry and trauma. "You're telling me your people came to study us, and then disappeared?" "Yes, and nobody sent a search party. They were deemed lost." "So you came by yourself?" "Yes." Rehan stared. "You're either brave or insane." Eola met his eyes. Among the Ellerin, that distinction is meaningless. The days passed slowly. Rehan helped Eola hide in the forest during drone flyovers. She learned how to recharge small devices from solar scrap. He scavenged parts from abandoned labs and junkyards, always watching his back. They grew closer, not romantically, but in that sacred bond between two beings who have no one else to trust. Eola read his books. She fixed his inverter. He taught her how to use a frying pan and how to swear in 3 languages. She told him of stars that sang and planets that wept, of a world where minds linked through empathy, not wires. Rayhan listened. He didn't always understand, but he listened. And then, one night, everything changed. Not on purpose, but triggered by proximity to a hidden energy source Rayhan had found in an abandoned military listening post. Eola identified it as Ellerin Tech, part of the missing team's field beacon. It was still alive. It pulsed one word: survivor. And a location: buried beneath an old Cold War research site in the Tian Shan Mountains. Rayhan's first instinct was fear. We go there. We're walking into a government trap. I must, Eola said. I'm not you. Rayhan snapped. You're engineered for all this. I'm just a guy with a wrench. No, she said softly. You're human. That means you make miracles out of mud and madness. They traveled under false names, forged documents, and hijacked signals. Rayhan's hacking, something he'd picked up watching old Russian YouTube videos, got them past checkpoints. He was no soldier, but human ingenuity. He learned. Didn't always need training. It needed desperation, stakes. Eola watched him adapt with awe and growing conflict in her heart. The Ellerin had always feared humans for their volatility. But here, that same chaos was saving her. She wondered, had her people underestimated humanity? Or worse, had they tried to change them? When they reached the underground facility, they found the truth. Not a survivor, a subject. One of the Ellerin, mutated, twisted by gene experiments, held in stasis. A failed hybrid. The scientists had tried to combine Ellerin memory link with human emotion centers. It had driven most mad. Rayhan found files, videos, Earth's black-budget programs. Human militaries, desperate to match alien adaptability, had used the Ellerin to try and make super soldiers. Eola stood in silence as the truth crashed down on her like a neutron star. We came to witness, and they made us weapons. The silence inside the old Tian Shan research facility was oppressive. Not dead, no. That would be easier, but humming. Alive with old machines still fed by underground geothermal taps, forgotten by governments, protected by snow and fear. Rayhan held a flashlight high. Dust motes floated in the beam like tiny ghosts. Eola moved with slow, purposeful steps. Her bioluminescent veins glowed faintly blue in the dark, a quiet rebellion against the cold concrete. And there, at the end of the hallway, was the stasis pod. Inside it lay what had once been an Ellerin. Now it was something else. The creature's features were warped. Its crystal skin was cracked, and human tissue had been grafted over one eye. Where Ellerin's song harmonics should have pulsed from its core, there was static and pain. Eola fell to her knees. Velan, she whispered. You know them? Rayhan asked. He was one of the linguists. He translated Earth music. He loved it. Her voice cracked. He begged to come here. Rayhan placed a hand on her shoulder, but she didn't move. I failed him. No, Rayhan said, his voice low. You didn't. We did. They found the data logs. Thousands of hours of vivisections, neural experimentation, forced harmonic exposure. Scientists trying to tap into the Ellerin's collective song, an empathic resonance that allowed emotional memory to be shared across light years. But humans couldn't connect the same way, so they tried to force it. They took Velan apart to understand it, then put him back together. Wrong. Can we wake him? Rayhan asked. We shouldn't, Eola said. If he's alive, he might not be stable. The harmonic fracture, it warps identity. But he's your people. She hesitated. He was. Now, I don't know. Rayhan stared at the pod. I'm not leaving someone in a cage. Eola turned to him, and in her eyes was the conflict of her entire race, logic versus emotion, order versus chaos. She was Ellerin, but her time with him had changed her. She nodded. Then we do it together. They prepared everything: containment field, harmonic dampeners, emergency tranquilizers. Rayhan rigged a fallback EMP blast on a manual switch. He didn't understand all the alien tech, but he understood circuits, failovers, and last chances. The pod opened with a hiss. Veland's body twitched. His remaining eye glowed red. He looked at Evola and screamed, not with sound, but with memory. She staggered back as decades of torture poured into her mind. Her bioluminescence flickered violently. She began to convulse. Rayhan acted without thinking. He tackled Veland, jabbing the tranquilizer into the creature's mutated side. Veland shrieked, a sonic burst that cracked every light bulb in the room, and then collapsed. Rayhan crawled back to Evola, who lay shaking on the floor. "I saw it," she gasped. "What they did. The humans. They didn't just change him. They tried to make him feel like them." She sobbed, not because of Veland, but because deep down, she realized the truth. It almost worked. Back at their camp, Evola sat silently by the fire. Veland was stabilized but comatose, locked inside a memory loop. Rayhan had rewired a harmonic cradle into a sedation field, using scrap from Earth computers and alien resonance modules. She watched him adjust the settings, his brow furrowed in concentration. "You built that in 2 hours," she said. "Desperation is a hell of a motivator." "You're remarkable," Evola whispered. "I came here believing my people were better, wiser. The humans were chaos incarnate." Rayhan snorted. "You weren't wrong. But I was blind," she said. "There's madness in you, but also mercy. We turned away from you because we feared what you might become. But in doing so, we became something worse." Rayhan didn't reply. He didn't have to. The fire crackled. The wind howled against the mountain walls. And Evola made her choice. She opened a communication channel to the Ellerin High Choir. A risky move. They could imprison her for defying orders, revoke her memory bond, exile her. But they needed to know. "I have found one of our own," she said. "Warped by Earth's governments, yes. But not destroyed. Not broken. The humans tried to reshape him. Not out of cruelty, but fear. They reached too far. But they also saved me. Without one of them, I would have failed." A long silence. Then a voice, cold, harmonic, ancient. "Return. Bring the survivor. And bring the human." Rayhan stood on the hilltop as the Ellerin retrieval ship descended like a falling aurora. Evola stood beside him, her hand gently resting on Veland's pod. "Are you sure about this?" he asked. "No," she said. "But if there's a future between our species, it begins with truth, and that truth includes you." "I'm just a mechanic." "No," she said. "You're human. That's more than enough." The ship opened. Beams of light poured down. Evola stepped inside, turning once to look at him. "Will I see you again?" he asked. She smiled. "If there's any justice left in the galaxy, yes." The ship lifted, and for the first time in a long time, Rayhan Malik looked at the sky, not with fear, but with hope. Months later, deep within the memory archives of the Ellerin, a new harmonic layer was born, not of Ellerin origin, but human. A mechanic's voice, rough and unrefined, began to ripple through their song, a stubborn, flawed, endlessly adapting rhythm. Evola listened to it and smiled. The signal had not been lost. "Enjoyed the girl who fell from the sky. If this story moved you, made you think, or gave you chills, don't forget to like, comment, and share. Subscribe for more powerful HFY stories about humanity's strength, alien mysteries, and impossible odds. Hit the notification bell. It had been waiting to be heard.